What the fuck?
This traffic stalking is insane.
But it's so typical, like the first day with snow, and I, just want to get on with things, and like, why does it have, like... Okay, never mind.
Well, let's talk about the new EP and the album, the songs that is going to be released very soon.
Yeah.
The first one, Blue Roses, has already been released as a single and with a fantastic, amazing video.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is. And but the other songs, let's talk a bit about them.
There's another song called Roaring Ocean, which is really a kind of love song. I have had that song for quite a long time, actually. I just had a completely different vibe to it in the beginning, but then I wanted to dress it up differently. And it has like this beautiful strings on it, but and also very like unsettling thing underneath that kind of indicates that it's something beautiful, but there's also something a bit uncomfortable down there. So you thought it was quite theatrical.
Yeah.
It is quite. It's like the vocal is very dramatic.
Yeah.
Since I've played Fantini in Les Miserables, it has to have some kind of.
Yeah.
You then start to think about lines as the music.
Yeah. That is like.
I guess you lose your like fear of being too dramatic when you're at the theater. It's just like you just go with it.
Yeah, you could be too dramatic, you know. Life is dramatic. Why shouldn't you be?
Exactly.
Like.
Buried on the snow-covered mountain.
How would you really explain your sound today from where it's coming from the singer-songwriting until now? How would you say, what would you call your sound today?
It's partly synthesizer driven. I wouldn't say it's electronic music maybe anymore. Not as electronic as it used to be. I've always mixed like electronic drums and analog synthesizers with live drums. It's still in that synthy kind of area, but I'm using also more acoustic instruments now, like strings and stuff that I used to use like in the very beginning as well. So maybe it's almost like a merge between my earlier years and my later years are kind of coming together now. Like my new EP and my new album is heading towards something new.
Like even if I think about this, it's still really hard to explain, because it's kind of still in the middle of the process. And how can you speak about an album almost in the middle of it, like not in the middle of it, but like it's so fresh still.
In this new video for Blue Roses, it's a bit more nature before it was more industrial, if we're talking about the synthesizers and such. How would you describe your aesthetics nowadays?
That industrial part of me has kind of
moved on. Maybe.
Moved on a little bit, yeah, and something new has come in that has to do with it's more nature-based somehow. I find it fascinating with alchemy and mysticism and like the symbolism of all of that. It's definitely an inspiration, and I think it has to do something with. I think it happened when I was pregnant, because I think I reached like a contact with something else that I hadn't been so much in contact with before. I'm not sure what it is yet. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's like difficult to talk about still. I have, it's like a process that goes on.
Blue Roses.
Yeah.
Since you're wearing this beautiful coat. No, but seriously, tell me about Blue Roses.
Blue Roses is a song that I wrote. Actually, I was watching a Nina Simone documentary, and the connection was so bad that it stopped every minute, and like that little spinning Peter of Doom sign came up. But then I had time to write about the lyrics because I was really moved by her story, and I could really relate to myself growing up. And also I read this magazine at the same time where I read about this woman who had a daughter who had come home. She used to be a really happy girl, and she came home from a party one night and she didn't speak a word for like a year because she had been raped at this party. The song is kind of a story about all of these things, like how you grow up thinking that nothing can hurt you, and then suddenly like life hits you and you're suddenly not that naive anymore. But you also become empowered by all these things that happen in your life because you learn from them, and hopefully, like if you've experienced nothing, you can't really relate to other people. And there's a lot of people that I have a hard time relating to because I haven't experienced what they have experienced. But every human being goes through a lot of things, so.
I don't know if it's a rumor, but I've heard that you're obsessed with perfumes.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so it's not a rumor, no.
No.
Is it a confession?
It is a confession here and now, yeah.
Yeah?
I remember my first very strong memory of smell was when I went to the cinema for the first time. And I'm from the countryside, so I hadn't really been at a proper cinema, but I was in Stockholm for the first time with this mystical lady that I didn't really know that well, but she was kind of babysitting me, I think. And we went to this old school cinema in Stockholm, and someone was sitting next to me with this strange perfume, and the whole movie I was thinking about this weird smell that I couldn't really tell what kind of smell it was, but I've smelled it years later, and I was like, immediately I thought of that film, and I thought about that was my strongest experience of watching a film because of that smell. Ever since then I've found it really fascinating.
Yeah.
But I have a sensitive, I'm sensitive to smells. If someone smells funny, that is kind of what I remember about that person. But it's also like someone who smells funny to me doesn't necessarily smell funny to you, so it kind of has to be a match.
I've met Mark Constantine, for example, the founder of Lush, who makes perfumes from listening to songs or inspired by songs. And the same way I can be inspired by perfume or a certain smell to make a song. If I'm in the studio and burn some incense or some like these wood pieces that you can burn that smells really delicious, that like kind of creates a certain feeling in the studio, so I use that. When I think of myself as a writer, I sometimes think about a perfumer that makes a perfume that uses like different components to create a perfume. I kind of draw similarities to that creative process. There's a lot of women in history that we've never heard about because they've never had any real, focus or attention on them, but done amazing things. And now when I have a daughter and I have bought all these books about these amazing women that have done amazing stuff, I realize like, why don't I know about this? I used to complain. I was like, where's all the women? But here they are in these books, and it's amazing to read about and to learn about. It's a lot more than we think.
Yeah.
Your perfume still lingers.
The sharp edge.
The Sharp Edge. Yes, let's talk about The Sharp Edge. I love that song.
I'm glad you say that. When I first sang that song, I was like, I feel that it should be, sung in a different way. Yeah, I just discovered like a little bit of a new voice there. It felt like it needed to be sung with a slightly different, from a different place. And when I did that song, I was like, oh, I like this place where this comes from.
Yeah.
So I started to explore that more. And I've done, so much experimenting in the past with singing. Like I used to try to see if I was singing naked, if it sounded differently, if I sang with my feet in cold water, if it would sound different, if I was like lying down singing.
Oh, that's hard.
I don't think like the outer circumstances make so much difference, but the inner circumstances definitely makes the voice change.
So, this is your 6th album, and how would you say that this process has been like this far? Like, does it set apart from the other albums that you made, or has it been any different?
I think this album has actually been a lot different from all the other albums because I had a lot more clearer vision of what I wanted to do this time. Some of the albums in the past I've been, kind of making it up as I go along, discovering new things, and then it's like, oh, it turned into this thing after a while, but now it's a lot more planned, I'd say. For mine, you can always go away from the plan, but for me, I've been thinking about this for a long time and what I wanted to do. So it's I have to be more disciplined now because I have a child.
Yeah.
So that I need to structure it very much. But also it's like I've built my own studio, so I now record everything there, and that comes with a set of instruments that I use, so organs and mellotrons and pianos and those types of sounds in the church. Of course, I work with Nick Sheldon, who's from London. He'll bring the big city life into the songs, but it's still made around the nature of Djura, and that kind of you must be able to hear that. I mean, the surroundings influence the music, definitely. Maybe not everyone can hear that, but it has a total different vibe to be in Djura producing music than in London or LA producing music.
That's why I had to go all the way to California.
And then we have Glass House.
Yeah.
Or Glass House. How would you pronounce that?
Well, we can pronounce it any way that we want. That's the great thing about being Scandinavian. You can say glass house. You can say glass house.
Glass house.
We just speak like an Atlantic version of English, don't we?
Okay.
I sing Glass House in the song because I was in America at the time. It was my first time in LA, and it was my view on that whole experience, seen through the lens of my emotions and previous experiences, I guess. It's what I saw in LA. And also, what's really an amazing thing about this new EP is that it's released on my label, Djura Missionshus label, Djura Missionshus for the international fans of ours.
Djura Missionshus.
Yeah. Every experience with a record company that I've had has been pretty messy.
Yeah.
So I've decided that I really, really wanted to take control myself and release it through channels that is 100% transparent. So that feels really exciting to see how far I can take it as an artist, but also as a business for me.
Yeah.
It feels great to have my own studio, to own my own master, to release it, and it's there's a lot more work, of course, but that's something very empowering for me in doing that. It feels awesome.
Awesome.
What doesn't feel quite as awesome is this traffic jam.
Now.
Are we moving? Okay.
Jinxing.